Breaking news. Putin's iron grip is demonstrated by the death of Prigozhin. Putin's regime may have faced its darkest hour nearly 2 months ago. Prigozhin's Wagner mercenaries staged a military mutiny and marched on Moscow from Rostov, encountering little in the way of organized resistance along the way. Putin must compromise significantly by agreeing to Prigozhin's exile to Belarus, though the soldiers involved will not be punished. Many outsiders believe that Putin's retreat after the mutiny heralds the beginning of the end of his regime. Recent events in Russian politics, including the coup, have shown, however, that nothing is predictable. Prigozhin's private plane went down in Russian territory. It is now widely believed that Prigozhin and the other Wagner leaders were killed in this attack. Wagner's Telegram channel claims that Russian air defense forces were responsible for Prigozhin's death. Putin expressed his condolences to the victims' families and said that Prigozhin was a man who erred but ultimately served the greater good. On the same day, Putin relieved Ukraine's war commander, General Surovikin, of his duties. After the coup attempt, he disappeared from public view for weeks. After the coup, many people speculated that he was taken into custody. It is common knowledge that Surovikin is Prigozhin's ally. This could be interpreted as Putin's attempt to increase his power over the armed forces. Even though Prigozhin's death has only been confirmed to be presumed, Putin still has a firm grasp on power. His authority was not undermined as many had feared it would be by the coup. During this time, Putin reasserted his authority over the armed forces. Although the cause of the crash is unknown, Prigozhin's death should serve as a warning to anyone who might be tempted to challenge Putin. Following the coup, Russia has similarly clamped down on Wagner's operations. These developments point to Putin's ascendance to political prominence in Russia. Putin has demonstrated that he still commands the full respect of the Russian military. The Wagner Group, during the coup, claimed they had taken over the Rostov military installations, without a single shot. Putin appears to have lost command of the armed forces. However, neither before nor after the coup did any mutiny occur among the troops stationed at the front. Putin's swift action in dismissing General Surovikin was a clear signal that he would not stand for any military dissension. Prigozhin counts Surovikin as a close friend and ally. His demise was further evidence of Putin's resolve to consolidate power in the armed forces. Putin's military control was bolstered by a combination of rewards and punishments. He presided over military celebrations at the Kremlin. Meanwhile, a few days after the coup, he gave every employee of the security agency a significant raise. Putin, on the other hand, has begun a purge of senior officials. Days after the coup, Moscow has arrested a number of high-ranking officers, including Surovikin. Putin's theme in controlling the military is evident in all of these moves. The death of Prigozhin should serve as a warning to any would-be challengers. When it comes to domestic politics, the Kremlin faces no shortage of rivals. Russia has developed a potential warlordism, which undermines government authority, despite the crackdown on the opposition. From Wagner to the East Ukrainian militias, regional powers and illegal mercenary groups have been on the rise in recent years. Many soldiers, like Kadyrov's army, felt more autonomy from the Kremlin and yearned for territorial growth. In the late 1990s, Kadyrov led Chechen forces in a bloody war against Moscow. Wagner represents the kind of autonomous military that poses a threat to Russian security. Putin used Prigozhin's punishment as an example to deter others. Putin did not have faith in these semi-private troops, and Prigozhin's death served as a sobering reminder of the price of defiance. Putin's plot against Wagner lasted the full 2 months. For the ambitious, it served as a warning that their efforts to unseat Putin would soon bear fruit. After the coup, the government in Moscow also began to limit Wagner's freedom of movement. Wagner Group pulled out of Russia after the coup attempt. Prigozhin announced the shift in Wagner's priorities to the African operation in the first video released after the coup. Wagner's side ventures are also being closely examined by the Russian authorities. After the coup, Russian authorities closed Wagner's St. Petersburg office and his media empire. In addition, the Kremlin no longer uses Prigozhin's catering services. The Wagner faction as a whole has taken a hit. By having the mercenaries sign contracts with the Ministry of Defense, Moscow is able to exert even more control over them. Before July 1, Putin pushed for contract signing from all parties to ensure social guarantees. The Wagner military has stopped accepting new recruits indefinitely and has given their heavy weapons to the Russian government. Moscow is keeping a close eye on everything Wagner has, from equipment to personnel. But Putin isn't in over his head at all. Russia's resources are being depleted by the never-ending conflict in Ukraine. Since President Lukashenko represented Putin in the negotiation and shielded Prigozhin, his assassination has the potential to inflame tensions between Russia and Belarus. Wagner's operations shifted toward Africa, and with the loss of their leader, their future is uncertain. One thing is certain, however: following the failed coup attempt and the death of Prigozhin, Putin took the opportunity to clean up the military, thereby discouraging potential rivals and regaining control of Russia. The apparent death of Prigozhin is more evidence that Putin still holds substantial power in Russia.